Gravitational potential energy. There are some things that we do differently, we start doing differently in A level, especially in the topic of gravitation. However, most of it will remain the same. But let me just outline what you should know at this stage, and then we start building on from there. So you should have definitely been using the equation mgh, and you should also know that that is the same equation as the one for work, where work is given by a force that is being exerted over a particular displacement. When a force is being exerted on an object and it is being moved through a particular displacement upwards, that vertical distance through which that object is moved can easily be referred to as being the height, and obviously to be able to move it upwards we need to at least do a force equal to the weight of the object. Again, at previous levels you were doing another two assumptions that now will be more obvious, more evident, and somewhat changed a bit because we can no longer make those assumptions for this particular topic. So the two assumptions were as follows. One big assumption that you were making was that the acceleration due to gravity was always a constant. And this was true just because all the problems that were being set at that level were set at distances that are relatively much smaller than the radius of Earth. So what that meant was that the value of g, the value of the gravitational field strength, wasn't changing much. Now obviously we do know about this, that the acceleration due to gravity starts off at 9.81 meters per second squared at the Earth's surface, and it does follow an inverse square law as we increase the distance away from Earth. Now that we know this, that g is actually going to be much less as we move a certain distance away from Earth, we can no longer do this assumption in this topic of gravitation. So about this zero value, this was always taken at the most convenient point, meaning if I simply dropped this marker to the ground, with the ground being the lowest level, the lowest point available in this particular situation, that is the point, that is the height I choose to set at zero. And whatever force then would be required to move the object back up, the marker back up, whatever work would be required, then that would be equal to all the gravitational potential energy that was gained by the object. Now this concept of zero value being taken at the most convenient point will still be used, but definitely not at the lowest value at the lowest point available. So let's go through all of this with respect to A-level physics, and I'll be pointing out the differences from your previous studies of physics to what will be required now in the topic of gravitation.